Jeremiah 27, 1 through 22. Devotional focus verse. Therefore hearken not ye to your prophets, nor to your diviners, nor to your dreamers, nor to your enchanters, nor to your sorcerers, which speak unto you, saying, Ye shall not serve the king of Babylon. Jeremiah 27, 9. We live in a day when seemingly everything is advertised. Marketers use a combination of manipulation and persuasiveness to promote their products. Their technique may be to suggest that using this product will put the user ahead of the times, or will make him or her part of an elite group with a glamorous lifestyle. The advertisement might present statistics to prove the superiority of the product, or describe some ingredient that makes it exceptionally effective. Words and images with positive connotations may be employed to suggest that its positive qualities would be associated with the consumer. One soft drink ad that caught my attention featured the beverage being poured into a clear glass. Just the sound of it gurgling from the bottle made me think, wow, I could sure use a glass of that right now. The visual image of the bubbling drink, complete with bobbing ice cubes and beads of condensation on the glass, actually made me thirsty. The manufacturer was appealing to my senses, enticing me to sample this drink for myself. In this case, what the manufacturer did not advertise were the negative aspects of the product. Studies have proved that there can be potentially harmful side effects tied to the consumption of soft drinks, including tooth decay, weight gain, and diabetes. While the ad led consumers to believe that the product is good for us, the reverse, in fact, is true. Some ads no doubt tell the truth about their products. However, it is possible for us to be enticed by persuasive advertising into trying something that harms us. In today's text, Jeremiah found himself combating some false advertising. The ungodly priests and prophets of his day were presenting a spurious message of peace to the people. By contrast, Jeremiah was trying to sell a message to the people that God had given him, telling them what they needed to do in order to survive. Sadly, his message of truth was rejected, for the people were more inclined to listen to the false prophets than to Jeremiah's painful but corrective words. In our day, the danger of being confused by false advertising in the spiritual realm still exists. We must carefully guard against being deceived by eloquent and interesting speakers. False teachers of our day can obscure doctrine, minimize the importance of careful adherence to holy living, and lead us away from the truth of God's Word. May God help us not to be led astray. How important it is to discern what the truth really is, and then to stand for it with our whole hearts. Background information. In today's text, Jeremiah prophesied of Babylon's control of Judah and the surrounding nations. Bible scholars agree that the events of this chapter took place during the reign of Zedekiah, see verses 3 and 12, which began in 597 BC. God instructed Jeremiah to make bonds and yokes, devices placed upon the neck of an ox or other beasts of burden to bring them under control, and to put them upon his neck. This was to be a visual illustration of the submission that God was requiring. Nations that did not obey this message from God would be severely punished. Prophets, enchanters, and dreamers of Judah were contradicting the message Jeremiah delivered, telling the people exactly what they wanted to hear. This group encouraged King Zedekiah to band together with the surrounding nations and rebel against Babylon. Jeremiah, through the physical yoke about his neck, was telling the people, the king, and the false prophets to listen to God's plan. God stated in verse 11 that those who listened to him and followed Jeremiah's instructions would be able to remain in their homes and still use their own land to sustain them, even though in bondage. God gave them this promise, but there were conditions. They must obey Jeremiah's message. Verse 16 refers to the temple treasures, which the Babylonians had taken during their invasion in 597 BC. The false prophets claimed these would soon be returned. Jeremiah said this was untrue, that even more precious items would be taken from the temple. In verse 17, Jeremiah told the people to submit to God's will and live. Babylon's yoke of bondage, which God permitted, was a much better choice than to have Jerusalem laid waste. The final verse states God's promise that restoration would take place in His time, not the people's time. These prophecies were fulfilled under Cyrus the Persian after Judah had been in captivity for 70 years. In this chapter, God gave the people of Judah a clear message. They were to come under the yoke of Babylon. Some would remain in their hometowns, while others would be carried to Babylon. But the depth of the destruction of the nation would depend upon the people's obedience to Jeremiah's message from the Lord. Conclusion. It is possible to be influenced by eloquent speakers who offer messages that do not align with the Bible. Let's be sure that our hearts are tuned to the truth, so that we don't accept a carefully crafted but false interpretation of God's Word.
Chapter 27. In the beginning of the reign of Jehoiakim the son of Josiah king of Judah came this word unto Jeremiah from the Lord, saying, Thus saith the Lord to me, Make thee bonds and yokes, and put them upon thy neck, and send them to the king of Edom, and to the king of Moab, and to the king of the Ammonites, and to the king of Tyrus, and to the king of Zidon, by the hand of the messengers which come to Jerusalem unto Zedekiah king of Judah, and command them to say unto their masters, Thus saith the Lord of hosts, the God of Israel, Thus shall ye say unto your masters, I have made the earth, the man and the beast that are upon the ground, by my great power and by my outstretched arm, and have given it unto whom it seemed meet unto me. And now have I given all these lands into the hand of Nebuchadnezzar the king of Babylon, my servant, and the beasts of the field have I given him also to serve him. And all nations shall serve him, and his son, and his son's son, until the very time of his land come. And then many nations and great kings shall serve themselves of him. And it shall come to pass that the nation and kingdom which will not serve the same Nebuchadnezzar the king of Babylon, and that will not put their neck under the yoke of the king of Babylon, that nation will I punish, saith the Lord, with the sword, and with the famine, and with the pestilence, until I have consumed them by his hand. Therefore hearken not ye to your prophets, nor to your diviners, nor to your dreamers, nor to your enchanters, nor to your sorcerers, which speak unto you, saying, Ye shall not serve the king of Babylon. For they prophesy a lie unto you, to remove you far from your land, and that I should drive you out, and ye should perish. But the nations that bring their neck under the yoke of the king of Babylon, and serve him, those will I let remain still in their own land, saith the Lord, and they shall till it, and dwell therein. I spake also to Zedekiah king of Judah, according to all these words, saying, Bring your necks under the yoke of the king of Babylon, and serve him and his people, and live. Why will ye die, thou and thy people, by the sword, by the famine, and by the pestilence, as the Lord hath spoken against the nation that will not serve the king of Babylon? Therefore hearken not unto the words of the prophets that speak unto you, saying, Ye shall not serve the king of Babylon, for they prophesy a lie unto you. For I have not sent them, saith the Lord, yet they prophesy a lie in my name, that I might drive you out, and that ye might perish, ye and the prophets that prophesy unto you. Also I spake to the priests and to all this people, saying, Thus saith the Lord, Hearken not to the words of your prophets that prophesy unto you, saying, Behold, The vessels of the Lord's house shall now shortly be brought again from Babylon, for they prophesy a lie unto you. Hearken not unto them. Serve the king of Babylon, and live. Wherefore should this city be laid waste? But if they be prophets, and if the word of the Lord be with them, let them now make intercession to the Lord of hosts, that the vessels which are left in the house of the Lord, and in the house of the king of Judah, and at Jerusalem, go not to Babylon. For thus saith the Lord of hosts concerning the pillars, and concerning the sea, and concerning the bases, and concerning the residue of the vessels that remain in this city, which Nebuchadnezzar king of Babylon took not, when he carried away captive Jeconiah the son of Jehoiakim king of Judah, from Jerusalem to Babylon, and all the nobles of Judah and Jerusalem. Yea, thus saith the Lord of hosts, the God of Israel, concerning the vessels that remain in the house of the Lord, and in the house of the king of Judah and of Jerusalem. They shall be carried to Babylon, and there shall they be until the day that I visit them, saith the Lord. Then will I bring them up, and restore them to this place.